The SUV was seconds from killing her. Marcus didn't think, he just turned his wheel, throwing his car between the speeding vehicle and the Air Force officer. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. His daughter screamed from the back seat. Then darkness. When he woke up, everything had changed forever. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching, also like and subscribe for more stories. The rain hammered against the windshield like bullets as Marcus Chen gripped the steering wheel tighter. His knuckles were white, his jaw clenched. In the back seat, his 7-year-old daughter Emma hummed softly, oblivious to the storm raging both outside and within her father's heart. "Daddy, are we almost there?" Emma's small voice cut through the thunder. "Almost, sweetheart. Just a few more minutes." Marcus glanced at his daughter through the rearview mirror. Her innocent eyes reminded him why he kept going every single day. 2 years ago, his wife Sarah had walked out on them without warning, leaving only a note that said she needed to find herself. Marcus had been left alone to raise Emma, working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. Tonight was supposed to be different. Tonight was Emma's school recital, the one she had practiced for months. But his second shift at the warehouse had run late, and now they were racing against time. The traffic light ahead turned yellow. Marcus pressed the accelerator, trying to make it through. That's when he saw her. A woman in an Air Force uniform stood frozen in the middle of the crosswalk. A black SUV was speeding through the red light, heading straight for her. The driver wasn't stopping. Time slowed down. Marcus saw everything with crystal clarity, the woman's eyes widening in terror, her arms coming up instinctively, the SUV bearing down on her like a predator. He didn't think. He just acted. Marcus jerked the steering wheel hard to the right, his car lurching into the intersection. The impact was brutal. Metal screamed against metal. Glass shattered. His car took the full force of the SUV's momentum, creating a barrier between the speeding vehicle and the woman. The last thing Marcus heard before darkness claimed him was Emma's scream. Pain. That was the first thing Marcus felt when consciousness returned. His entire body felt like it had been put through a meat grinder. Every breath sent daggers through his ribs. "Don't move, sir. You're in the hospital." A nurse's gentle voice floated through the fog in his mind. "Emma?" Marcus tried to sit up, but the pain forced him back down. "My daughter, where is she?" "She's safe. Minor cuts and bruises. She's with child services right now." "No." Panic gave Marcus strength. He tried to move again, but his body refused to obey. "She can't. I'm all she has." "Mr. Chin, you need to rest. You have 3 broken ribs, a fractured arm, internal bleeding that we had to operate on, and severe bruising. You're lucky to be alive." Lucky. The word tasted bitter in his mouth. He had survived, but at what cost? Emma was with child services. His car was destroyed. The medical bills would bury him alive. And he had probably lost both his jobs for not showing up. What kind of luck was that? The door to his room opened, and a woman in an Air Force uniform walked in. Even in his hazy state, Marcus recognized her. She was the woman from the crosswalk. "Mr. Chin?" Her voice was soft but carried an edge of authority. "I'm Captain Rachel Morrison. I need to talk to you about last night." Marcus turned his head slightly to look at her. She was in her early 30s, with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of battles fought far from home. "Are you okay?" he asked. Rachel blinked, clearly surprised by the question. "Am I okay?" "Mr. Chin, you saved my life. You threw yourself and your car between me and a speeding vehicle. You took a bullet meant for me, metaphorically speaking. Is my daughter safe?" "Yes. She's fine. But we need to talk about what happened." Marcus closed his eyes. "What's there to talk about? Some idiot ran a red light. I tried to help. End of story." "It's not the end, Mr. Chin. It's just the beginning." Rachel pulled a chair closer to his bed. "That wasn't an accident. That SUV was driven by someone trying to kill me." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. "What?" Marcus's eyes snapped open. Rachel's jaw tightened. "I'm an intelligence officer with the Air Force. 6 months ago, I uncovered evidence of a smuggling ring operating through our base. Military weapons being sold to the highest bidder. I reported it, testified against the people involved. Most of them went to prison." "Most of them?" "The leader, a man named Viktor Kozlov, escaped. He's ex-military Russian special forces. He swore revenge on everyone who brought down his operation. Last night was his attempt to make good on that promise." Marcus felt cold despite the hospital's warm air. "So that SUV, he was trying to kill you?" "Yes. And you got in the way." Rachel leaned forward. "Mr. Chen, I owe you my life. But I need to be honest with you. Victor doesn't give up. He's going to come back. And when he does, anyone associated with me becomes a target. You're saying my daughter is in danger because I saved you? The guilt in Rachel's eyes was answer enough. I'm so sorry, she whispered. If I could go back and change what happened, I would. Marcus wanted to be angry. He wanted to rage at this woman who had brought danger into their lives. But when he looked at Rachel Morrison, all he saw was someone carrying her own burden of pain and responsibility. It's not your fault, he said quietly. I made the choice to help. I'd do it again. Why? Rachel's voice cracked. You have a daughter who needs you. Why would you risk everything? Marcus thought about Emma, about all the nights he'd held her when she cried for her mother, about every sacrifice he'd made to give her a good life. Because that's what parents do, he said simply. We protect people. We stand between the ones we love and danger. Even if it costs us everything. Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes. My father was like you. He was a firefighter. Died saving a family from a burning building when I was 10. I joined the military to honor his memory. But lately I've wondered if all this fighting, all this danger, if it's worth it. It is, Marcus said with certainty. You're fighting to protect people. That's worth everything. Rachel wiped her eyes and straightened in her chair. Mr. Chen, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to protect you and Emma. Viktor Kozlov is going to pay for what he's done. How? Leave that to me. Right now, you need to focus on healing. And don't worry about Emma. I've already made arrangements. What kind of arrangements? Before Rachel could answer, the door opened again. A social worker walked in, followed by Emma. Daddy? Emma's face lit up like the sun. She started to run toward him, but the social worker held her back. Gentle honey. Your daddy is hurt. Emma approached slowly, her eyes wide with worry. Daddy, are you okay? Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. I'm okay, princess. Just a little banged up. I was so scared. Emma's lower lip trembled. I thought you were going to leave me like mommy did. The words cut deeper than any physical injury. Marcus reached out with his good arm, and Emma carefully climbed onto the bed beside him. I'm never leaving you, Emma. Never. I promise. Rachel watched the scene, her expression unreadable. Then she turned to the social worker. Has the paperwork gone through? Yes, Captain Morrison. Everything is approved. Marcus looked up sharply. What paperwork? Rachel's face softened. Mr. Chin, you're going to need help while you recover. Someone to take care of Emma, help with medical expenses, make sure you're both safe. I've arranged for temporary custody to be granted to me. What? No. You can't just. It's already done. Emma will stay with me at a secure location until you're healed and Victor is caught. You'll have visitation rights, of course. But this is the only way I can guarantee her safety. Marcus wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. He couldn't protect Emma in his current condition. And if Victor really was coming after anyone connected to Rachel, Emma was safer away from him. I don't even know you, Marcus said weakly. Then let's change that. Rachel sat down again. Ask me anything. Get to know me. Because for the next few weeks or months, I'm going to be the person keeping your daughter safe. You deserve to know who I am. Over the next hour, Rachel told them her story. She talked about growing up with a father who believed in serving others, about joining the Air Force to make a difference, about the loneliness of military life and the weight of command. She showed them pictures of her small apartment, her cat named Whiskers, her collection of old books. Emma listened with wide eyes, occasionally asking questions. Marcus watched his daughter slowly warm up to this stranger who had entered their lives in such a dramatic way. Can Whiskers play with me? Emma asked. Absolutely. She loves kids, Rachel said with a smile. Daddy, is it okay if I go with Captain Rachel? Just until you're better? Marcus looked at his daughter's hopeful face, then at Rachel's determined expression. He had no choice. But maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the worst thing that could happen. Okay, he whispered. But you call me every night, understand? I promise, Daddy. The next morning, Marcus woke to find his hospital room transformed. Flowers filled every available surface. A new laptop sat on the bedside table with a note, for keeping in touch with Emma. His medical bills had been paid in full, according to the nurse who came in to check on him. And on the chair beside his bed, Rachel Morrison sat reading a book, still in her uniform. You stayed all night? Marcus asked, his voice rough from sleep. Rachel looked up. Couldn't sleep anyway. Besides, Victor's people might try to come after you. I wasn't going to leave you unprotected. You barely know me. You took a bullet for me, Mr. Chin. That makes you family in my book. Over the following days, a strange routine developed. Rachel visited every morning before heading to base. She brought updates on Emma, who was apparently thriving with Whiskers the cat and Rachel's collection of adventure books. She brought news about the hunt for Victor, about security measures being put in place. But mostly they talked about life, about loss, about the weight of being responsible for another human being. Emma's mother left because she said I was too focused on work, Marcus admitted one afternoon. I was trying to provide for them, but she felt neglected. After she left, I quit one job and found 2 part-time ones so I could spend more time with Emma. But money was always tight. You're a good father, Marcus. Rachel had stopped calling him Mr. Chin days ago. Emma talks about you constantly. She adores you. I'm all she has. No, Rachel said softly. She has you. There's a difference. Quality over quantity. You're enough. The words touched something deep inside Marcus that he hadn't realized was broken. What about you? He asked. Do you have anyone? Rachel's smile was sad. The military is my family. I've dedicated my life to serving, protecting. But sometimes late at night I wonder what I'm going home to. An empty apartment and a cat aren't exactly a fulfilling personal life. Why don't you change that? Because I'm scared, Rachel admitted. I've seen what this life does to relationships. The deployments, the danger, the secrets. I watched my mother wait every day for news that my father had died. When it finally came, it broke her. She never recovered. I swore I'd never put someone through that. So you're alone to protect others from pain? When you put it that way, it sounds pretty stupid. It sounds pretty lonely, Marcus corrected gently. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Understanding. Recognition. 2 people who had built walls around their hearts finding unexpected connection. 2 weeks into Marcus's hospital stay, everything changed. Marcus was sleeping when the door to his room burst open. But it wasn't Rachel. It was a tall man with cold eyes and a gun fitted with a silencer. Marcus Chin, the man said with a thick Russian accent. Victor sends his regards. Terror flooded Marcus's system. He tried to reach for the call button, but the man was faster. He grabbed Marcus by the throat, pressing the gun against his temple. Where is Rachel Morrison? Tell me now and I'll make this quick. I don't know, Marcus gasped. I haven't seen her in days. It was a lie. Rachel had been there just hours ago. But Marcus would die before he gave up her location. The man pressed the gun harder. Wrong answer. Just then the door exploded inward. Rachel crashed through like an avenging angel, her own weapon drawn. Federal agent. Drop the weapon now. The Russian spun, using Marcus as a shield. Captain Morrison. How convenient. Now I can kill you both. Let him go, Dmitri. Your fight is with me, not him. My fight is with anyone who destroyed Victor's operation. This man protected you. He's as guilty as you are. Rachel's eyes met Marcus's. He saw the calculation there, the tactical assessment. And he saw something else, fear. Not for herself but for him. Please, Rachel said, lowering her weapon slightly. Let him go. Take me instead. I'm the one you want. Rachel, no. Marcus tried to shout, but the hand on his throat squeezed tighter. Such noble sacrifice, Dmitri mocked. Victor was right. You care about this man. That makes him valuable. In that moment, Marcus understood. Victor wasn't just trying to kill Rachel. He was trying to destroy her emotionally by hurting everyone she cared about. And somehow, in just 2 weeks, Marcus had become someone she cared about. He couldn't let that happen. He couldn't let Rachel sacrifice herself for him. With strength born of desperation, Marcus grabbed the 4-stand beside his bed and swung it with his good arm. The metal pole crashed into Dmitri's head. The Russian stumbled back, his grip loosening. Rachel moved like lightning. One shot, precisely placed. Dmitri went down. More agents poured into the room, weapons drawn. They secured the scene while Rachel rushed to Marcus's side. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Marcus couldn't answer. The adrenaline that had kept him moving drained away, and darkness pulled at his vision. Stay with me, Marcus. Please stay with me. Rachel's voice was the last thing he heard before unconsciousness claimed him. When Marcus woke again, the first thing he saw was Emma's face. Daddy? You're awake. She was crying and laughing at the same time. Rachel stood behind her, looking exhausted but relieved. Welcome back. What happened? Dmitri is in custody. He's talking, giving us information about Victor's location. It's almost over, Marcus. You're safe. Emma's safe. Marcus looked at his daughter, then at Rachel. You brought her here. Even though it might be dangerous. She needed to see you. And I needed her here too. You both reminded me why I do what I do. Over the next few days, the full story emerged. Rachel's team had been tracking Victor's organization, waiting for them to make a move. When Dimitri came after Marcus, it had given them the opening they needed. Victor was captured in a raid 2 days later. It was over. The danger had passed. But something had changed between Marcus and Rachel. Emma had bonded with Rachel during her stay, and Rachel had discovered she loved having the little girl in her life. And Marcus and Rachel had found something neither of them had been looking for: connection. What happens now? Marcus asked on his last day in the hospital. Rachel sat in her usual chair, but this time Emma was curled up against her, half asleep. I don't know, Rachel admitted. I've been asking myself that question all week. The mission is over. My duty is done. I should probably return Emma to you and go back to my life. Should. But I don't want to. The confession seemed to cost Rachel something. These past few weeks taking care of Emma, visiting you, it's shown me what I've been missing. Purpose beyond the mission. Connection beyond duty. Family. Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. What are you saying? I'm saying that a single dad and his daughter saved an Air Force officer from more than just a bullet. You saved me from a life of loneliness. You showed me that walls don't keep out pain, they just keep out joy. Rachel looked down at Emma, then back at Marcus. I don't want this to end. I want to be part of your lives. If you'll have me. Emma stirred awake. Does that mean Rachel can stay with us, Daddy? Marcus felt tears in his eyes. Do you want her to, Princess? Yes. Rachel reads the best bedtime stories, and Whiskers needs a home, and I think Rachel needs a home too. Out of the mouths of babes came the simplest truth. Then yes, Marcus said, looking at Rachel. We want you in our lives. All of us. Rachel's face broke into a smile brighter than any Marcus had ever seen. Really? Really? But fair warning, I'm a package deal. Single dad, part-time jobs, a daughter who asks a million questions, and approximately zero savings after this hospital stay. Good thing I have decent military benefits and a pension, Rachel said with a laugh. And Emma's questions are one of my favorite things about her. What about your career? The Air Force. Rachel's expression turned thoughtful. I've been thinking about that. I've served for 12 years. I've done my duty and more. Maybe it's time for a new mission. One that involves more bedtime stories and less bullets. You'd give up the Air Force? For us. I'm not giving it up. I'm choosing something better. I'm choosing family. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the backyard of their new home watching Rachel and Emma play with Whiskers. The cat was chasing a toy mouse while Emma squealed with delight and Rachel laughed, her uniform replaced with jeans and a casual shirt. Rachel had taken an honorable discharge from the Air Force and started working as a security consultant, using her skills to help protect people without the constant deployments. Marcus had found a better job at a local school as a maintenance supervisor, with regular hours and benefits. But more than the practical improvements in their lives, they had found something precious: love. It had grown slowly, carefully, built on a foundation of shared trauma and mutual respect. Marcus had learned that love wasn't always a lightning bolt. Sometimes it was a steady sunrise, warming you gradually until one day you realized you couldn't imagine life without it. What are you thinking about? Rachel asked, walking over to him while Emma continued playing. How a single terrible moment turned into the best thing that ever happened to us. Rachel took his hand. You mean the moment you decided to play hero and throw yourself in front of a speeding SUV? I mean the moment I met the bravest woman I've ever known. I'm not brave, Marcus. Brave would have been facing life alone without fear. I was terrified of connection, of loss, of repeating my mother's pain. And now I'm still terrified. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe and alone. You and Emma taught me that some things are worth the risk. Marcus pulled her close. For the record, I'm terrified too. I never thought I'd trust anyone after Sarah left. I built walls around Emma and me, convinced we were better off alone. What changed? You came crashing into our lives. Literally. Marcus smiled. You showed me that walls don't protect, they imprison. You showed Emma that not everyone leaves. And you showed both of us that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the person who stays when things get hard. Rachel rested her head on his shoulder. I love you, Marcus Chin. I love your daughter. I love this chaotic, beautiful life we're building together. I love you too, Rachel Morrison. Thank you for staying. Thank you for saving me. In every way a person can be saved. Emma ran over to them, Whiskers in her arms. Are you guys being mushy again? They laughed. Maybe a little, Rachel admitted. Good. Miss Jenkins at school says people who love each other should be mushy. She says her husband tells her he loves her every single day, even after 40 years. Marcus knelt down to Emma's level. Do you like having Rachel with us, princess? I love it, Daddy. Feels like we're a real family now. Not broken anymore. We were always a real family, Emma. But now we're just a bigger one. Does that mean Rachel's going to be my mom? The question hung in the air. Marcus looked at Rachel, saw the hope and fear warring in her eyes. They hadn't talked about marriage yet, hadn't discussed labels or legal bonds. But Emma's question demanded an answer. Rachel knelt beside Marcus. Emma, I could never replace your mother. But I can promise that I will always love you, always protect you, and always be here for you. If you want me to be. I want you to be, Emma said simply. Can I call you Mom? Tears streamed down Rachel's face. I would be honored. Emma threw her arms around Rachel's neck. Marcus wrapped his arms around both of them, and for a moment, the whole world condensed down to this. 3 people who had found each other against all odds, who had chosen love over fear, connection over safety. 1 year after that rainy night, Marcus stood at an altar in a small church. Emma was the flower girl, wearing a white dress and a huge smile. Friends from work filled the pews alongside Rachel's military buddies, who had flown in from around the country. When Rachel walked down the aisle, Marcus felt his breath catch. She wore a simple white dress, her hair down for once, looking more beautiful than he'd ever seen her. Dearly beloved, the priest began. Marcus barely heard the ceremony. He was lost in Rachel's eyes, seeing his future reflected there. A future filled with school plays and family dinners, with arguments over the remote control and quiet conversations on the porch. A future of ordinary moments made extraordinary by love. When it came time for the vows, Marcus spoke from his heart. Rachel, a year ago I was drowning in loneliness, convinced that I would always be alone in raising Emma. Then you came into our lives in the most dramatic way possible. You could have walked away after that night. You could have thanked me and moved on. But you stayed. You fought for us. You loved us when we needed it most. Today I promise to spend the rest of my life returning that gift. I promise to be your partner, your friend, your home. I promise to remind you every day that you are loved, valued, and cherished. I promise to build a life with you that honors both our past scars and our future dreams. Rachel's voice shook when she spoke. Marcus, when you threw yourself between me and that SUV, you did more than save my life. You woke me up to what I was missing. You showed me that courage isn't just facing bullets, it's facing your fears about love and connection. You taught me that family is a choice we make every day. Today I choose you. I choose Emma. I choose this beautiful, messy, wonderful life we're building. I promise to honor your past and Emma's needs. I promise to be a partner who supports your dreams. And I promise that no matter what storms come, I will stand beside you. Always. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. The kiss was sweet and full of promise. Emma cheered from the front row, and the congregation erupted in applause. As they walked back down the aisle together, Marcus whispered, Have I mentioned lately that I love you? Only about 100 times today. But feel free to keep saying it. I love you, Rachel Chin. I love you too. Both of you. They looked down at Emma, who was walking between them, holding both their hands. Best day ever, Emma declared. And Marcus had to agree. 5 years later, Marcus sat on the front porch of their home watching the sun set. Emma, now 12, was inside practicing piano. The sound drifted through the open windows, mixing with Rachel's laughter as she talked on the phone with her mother. A car pulled up and a young couple stepped out. They looked nervous, carrying a baby carefully. Mr. Chin? The man asked. That's me. You must be the Johnsons. Come in, come in. 2 years ago, Rachel had approached Marcus with an idea. They had so much love in their home, so much room. What if they opened their doors to others who needed it? Now they were licensed foster parents, providing temporary homes for children in crisis. It wasn't always easy. Some kids came with trauma that took time to heal. But Marcus and Rachel had learned that love was the best medicine for broken hearts. This is baby Tyler, Mrs. Johnson said. He's 3 months old. His mother is a soldier stationed overseas and his father, well, he's not in the picture. She needs someone to care for him until her deployment ends in 6 months. Rachel came outside, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Let me see this little one. She took Tyler gently, and the baby immediately calmed in her arms. Marcus watched his wife coo at the infant, saw the natural grace with which she held him. It never ceased to amaze him how far they'd both come. After the Johnsons left, Rachel sat beside Marcus on the porch, Tyler asleep in her arms. "Another one," Marcus said with a smile. "Another one," Rachel agreed. "Are you okay with this? Are you kidding? This is what we do. We open our home and hearts to people who need it. Just like you did for Emma and me." "That was different." "How?" "I needed you as much as you needed me." Marcus kissed her temple. "And we need these kids as much as they need us. We have love to spare, Rachel. Why not share it?" Inside, Emma finished her piano practice and came outside. "Is this Tyler? Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Can I hold him?" Rachel carefully transferred the baby to Emma's arms, guiding her on how to support his head. Marcus watched his daughter, his brilliant, kind, compassionate daughter, look down at the baby with such tenderness. This was his life now. This beautiful, chaotic, love-filled life. It had started with a split-second decision in the rain, a choice to help someone in need. And it had grown into something more magnificent than he ever could have imagined. "Thank you," Marcus whispered to Rachel. "For what?" "For taking that bullet with me. For choosing us. For building this life." Rachel leaned against him. "Thank you for showing me what real courage looks like. And for giving me a family worth fighting for." As the sun set and the stars came out, the Chin family sat together on their porch. Inside, the house was full of music and laughter. Outside, the world kept turning. But here, in this moment, everything was perfect. Emma looked up from Tyler. "Dad, Mom, I've been thinking." "About what, princess?" Marcus asked. "About that night 5 years ago. The one where you saved Mom." "What about it?" "I used to think it was scary. The crash, the hospital, everything. But now I think it was the best thing that ever happened to us." Rachel smiled. "Why's that?" "Because sometimes bad things happen so good things can follow. You taught me that, Mom. You always say that our scars tell stories of survival and strength." "That's true," Rachel said. "So that night gave us scars. But it also gave us each other. It gave us this family. And now it's helping us give other people families too. Like Tyler." Marcus felt his throat tighten with emotion. His daughter, wise beyond her years, had just summed up everything he believed about their journey. "You're absolutely right, Emma. That night changed everything. It brought our family together." "Not just brought together," Emma corrected. "It made us. We're not 3 separate people anymore. We're the Chens. We're a team." "A team," Marcus repeated. "I like that." "Me too," Rachel added. "Team Chin forever." "Forever," Emma agreed. As darkness fell completely, they went inside. The house smelled like the dinner Rachel had made earlier. Whiskers the cat wound around their legs, purring. Tyler slept peacefully in his bassinet. This was home. Not the building but the people in it. Not the possessions but the love that filled every corner. Marcus had started as a single dad, exhausted and alone, just trying to survive. Rachel had been a soldier, brave in battle but terrified of emotional connection. Emma had been a little girl missing her mother, confused about why she'd been abandoned. Now they were a family. Whole. Complete. Strong. And it had all started with a single moment of courage. A split-second decision to help someone in need. A father's instinct to protect, even at the cost of his own safety. That night in the rain, Marcus Chin had taken a bullet to save an Air Force officer. But what happened next didn't just shock everyone. Changed everything. It proved that the greatest act of heroism isn't facing danger. It's opening your heart despite the risk. It's choosing love when fear would be easier. It's building bridges instead of walls. Marcus looked at his wife and daughter, at the baby they were temporarily caring for, at the life they had built together. He had taken a bullet that night. But in return he had gained a future worth living. A family worth fighting for. A love worth every sacrifice. And he would do it again in a heartbeat. Because that's what family does. We stand between the ones we love and danger. We open our doors to those in need. We choose connection over isolation, love over fear, hope over despair. The bullet had been real. The danger had been real. But so was the love that had grown from that terrifying moment. And in the end, love always wins. Always.